I think we have about 30 who signed up for it. So we'll give them a minute or so. So where are you guys located? Anybody want to share where they're at?
Katy, Texas, right outside of Houston.
Okay.
Binghamton, New York.
Altadena, California.
Okay.
Katy,
Detroit.
Texas. Katy, Texas, outside of Houston.
Okay. Yeah, we always get a bunch of Texas people and a bunch of Michigan people on these classes. Any Michigan people here? All right, at least one.
Yeah.
I'm in California. I'm in Huntington Beach, California.
Nice.
So,
Detroit, Michigan.
well, welcome. Everybody having a good New Year's Eve so far?
So far,
Yeah, you got any big plans for tonight?
Quiet.
I'm having a Zoom
Bye.
party.
Yeah. Yeah, this year is going to be kind of a dud as far as New Year's goes, but hopefully by next year, things will pick up.
Hopefully.
It
Yeah,
has to. It can't go any further down.
really. Jeez.
I think we've got like 3 or 4 or 5 months to wait.
Yeah, at least.
Probably longer than that.
Yeah, probably. I'm
Yeah,
just trying to be upbeat.
I don't know if there's many advantages to being over 65, but now that I'm there, at least I get my shot a little bit sooner than the younger people will.
That's right.
So, you know,
I'm excited.
that's a good thing, I guess. So is anybody doing Get Set Up for the first time? Any brand new people on here? You guys are all experienced.
I see at least 2 Texas people, so I don't know.
I'm Texas.
I know you are. That's why I say I see at least
Oh,
2.
okay.
And I think there's one more that somebody that said they were from Texas earlier. So
Hmm. All
I'm
right.
making chili for the first time. Normally I just open up a can. So I have that on the stove. I'm excited.
All right. Well, let's get in. Oh yeah, a couple of little housekeeping issues. First of all, we're not here to promote any products. I don't think in this presentation I haven't mentioned anything you could spend money on other than going to a doctor. So, but we don't get any kind of kickbacks or, you know, unfortunately, it might be nice if they paid us something for those things, but we don't have any tie-ins with any companies, so it's all just informational. We always record these sessions. So if you maybe, you know, thought of something that you wish you had remembered or written down, but you didn't, just let me know at the end. You can send, we have a survey and there's comments in there and you can say, please send me a copy of the video, or you can go on the Get Set Up page and go to the help window and talk to Marge or whoever's on. Or you can send an email to help@getsetup.io if you want a link to the video. And finally, like I mentioned at the end, we're going to have a little survey. So we really like to hear what you guys think of the classes, and if you have any helpful suggestions, or even if you have any ideas for other classes you might like us to present. You know, we're always looking for new ideas. So I'll remind you about that at the very end. So this is class about sleep. Does anybody have any particular interest or things they wanted to get out of this class that you want to share with us? Or
tips
Well,
on sleep.
I have bad habits that I want to change.
okay,
So and this goes back to my 20s and, you know, having this need to stay up past 11, which I still don't understand why I have that need. So now that I'm retired, I don't have that need. So I'm trying to break that habit. So it's a habit, and I know it's a habit.
okay. Anybody else have anything they're looking for? Or anybody here have a sleep, besides me, have a sleep disorder that they know of?
I do.
Yeah.
I have. Yes, I have one.
Anybody want to tell us about it? Or we'd like to hear if you don't mind.
Oh, well, sleep apnea. I have sleep apnea,
Yeah, me too.
and I go to bed with a CPAP every night.
So do I.
Yeah.
That's
How
me
about,
also.
yeah. How about Rochelle? What's your issue?
Rochelle gets 1 to 2 hours of sleep a night for about 20 years now.
Wow.
My
At
goodness.
least 20, it's probably even more than 20. However,
Wow.
it sounds too much to say any more than that.
I
It
was
used to be
like
3 to
that.
4.
I was like that for about 4 decades and recently found out my blood oxygen drops down into the 70s at night. And that wakes me up. And my body, automatically wakes me up. Now I have oxygen at night and no problem. So it might be something worth checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it is. I will check it though. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow.
So before I start my little slideshow up here, anybody have any other issues or?
Yeah, I would like to sleep, but I sleep like, well, for all those years I was retired, like the first 10, I would get up like that other lady said. But now, maybe it's just because we're in the house and I used to be so busy, but I can go to sleep at 9 and then at 2 o'clock, I'm up and I can't go back to sleep. I do everything to go back to sleep. And then, of course, then you get to thinking and all that kind of stuff.
Right, right.
I just want to sleep. I would like to go to sleep and wake up at a decent time instead of waking up. I'm always up for Wendy Williams and she starts at 4 o'clock, but I'm up and it's just, I tried turning TV off. I've tried just about everything you can think of.
Okay. Well, the information we have here is pretty much mainstream stuff. It came from WebMD, and there's a national, I forget what it's called, Sleep Association. So it's all pretty standard stuff. But let me share my screen with you here. Okay, so I'm going to go through these, but hey, you guys, if you have anything to add or if any questions come up, while we're doing this, please jump in there and, feel free to ask a question or make a comment. A lot of people say, they understand why you need sleep. And there's a lot of issues related to physical health and mental health that are affected by your sleep. If you have good sleep every night, good quality sleep and enough of it, it'll help prevent problems with blood pressure, gaining weight, heart disease, diabetes. Also, your brain processing, how aware are you? How well can you understand and learn and make decisions are affected. I don't know, do you guys, if you don't get a good night's sleep, if you notice that you're, it's harder to kind of process information sometimes or make decisions? I know,
Yes.
I do. I know when I always think like places when I have jet lag, like if I came, if I've flown overseas and I come back and your sleep is messed up for a couple of days, I always feel kind of groggy and, kind of out of it and irritable, definitely irritable. I got a truck going by the house here. It's kind of noisy. Fire truck, I wonder what's going on. I gotta close the window, it's too loud. Wow, 2 fire trucks. Anyway, so yeah, mood and vulnerability to stress, and finally immune system. I don't get sick too often, like colds and bronchitis and stuff. And usually when I do, I can usually trace it back to not having enough sleep for at least 1 or 2 nights. I've had some, like I said, jet lag, or I've had some jobs that I've done where I had to get up like at 4 o'clock in the morning for a couple of days. And a lot of times those are the times when I end up getting sick. So I think there is a connection there for sure. So while you're sleeping, there's certain things that happen in your body. One of them is that your tissues grow and there's repair being done. And I know that I've read that when if you do physical activity, you're lifting heavy stuff or doing some exercise or sports, there's these little micro tears that happen in your muscles, which it's not really an injury. It's kind of a normal thing, but you get little, little things that are ripped and torn on the microscopic level. And these things are repaired while you're sleeping. Okay. So if you get enough sleep, you'll be in good shape there. But if not, you're not going to have the repair that you need. Of course, you get your energy back. There's certain chemicals that are released during your sleep that are important for your immune system. And there's also hormones that are produced during sleep that regulate stress and hunger. So people who don't get enough sleep might have more of an appetite. They might be hungrier than others. Hang on 1 second here. Okay, that's better. Have you guys noticed any difference in your stress or your hunger levels if you don't?
Oh,
get-
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's where the brain goes crazy and you start thinking about all these things that you don't want to think about.
Right. I know what you mean. Let me show you this little clip here. This is kind of interesting. I think you'll like it. I guess there's no sound with this one, but. Oh, jeez. Is that all that? Anyway, you kind of get an idea of some of the things that happen there. So
I want you to understand that you have a brain. The back part of it is where you learn. The front part is where you do. Knowledge, performance, knowing, doing. And ADHD splits them apart.
no thanks. So here's the National Sleep Foundation's chart of how much sleep a person needs depending on what their age is. And it's always a range, but you can kind of see here the basically younger people, the babies. Of course,
See the YouTube video.
Yeah, we're not seeing the chart.
you don't see the chart here?
Oh, we're still looking at YouTube.
Oh. That's weird. All right, let me fix it because I'm seeing something totally different. I'm gonna.
Unless you need some sleep.
Maybe that's it. It could very well be.
I can teach the class. I know everything you should do. Just doesn't work for me.
All right. Okay, I'm going to get this back here. So, pardon the interruption. All right, we're back, hopefully on track here. All right, is that better? Can you see the?
We see you. Yeah,
Hey, that's it? Oh, that's not good. All right. Here we go. How about now?
Black screen.
No.
Really? All right, let's try another one.
Well, it was starting to share your screen. Yeah.
Okay. So do you see this one here? This is how much sleep do I need?
Not yet.
No.
Yeah, it's slow.
Is it coming up?
Yeah, it's spinning, so it's starting to load.
Right, it's spinning, yeah. People, it's flashing the other people.
So can anybody see the screen? This is how much sleep do I need?
No.
Well, it's still thinking.
Still thinking, huh?
Up there it is.
There it
there it
is.
I don't know why this is taking so long, but all right, at least we got there. So basically, maybe I'm sure you've noticed that as you get older, you need a little bit less sleep. But for people who are, getting up into their older years, 26 to 64, people need between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. And then when you get over 65, you need a little bit less, but not that much, usually 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And I know for me, if I get 7.5 hours, I'm in pretty good shape. But if I get less than 7, it can be a little groggy. I don't know, how is it with you? How many hours do you guys typically need to feel good?
7 to
I-
8.
I have my Fitbit tracking my sleep, and normally I get between 6 and 8.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
It is, except that I wake up and stay awake for a couple hours, and then because I'm retired though, I can sleep a little bit longer, so that adds to my 6 to 8 count.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of you guys take naps normally? Not really?
Don't
No
have
naps.
time.
No naps, but plenty of sleep. Maybe between 8 and 9 hours.
Nap here.
No naps. Don't have time.
I do sometimes. I would say about every other day or so, I might take a nap. Depends if I've done something, really
Yeah.
active during the day.
I wish I
Right.
could nap.
Well, so here's some of the problems if you don't get enough sleep, or if you get enough sleep that's not good quality sleep. And maybe I should explain that. Like, if those of you who have sleep apnea, like when I first found out that I had it, I was sleeping 7 or 8 hours every night, but I would still be really, really tired during the day. And I was started snoring more and more, and my wife said, "You got to go in there because it's driving me crazy." So, I didn't wake up during the night, but they told me that I did have, the sleep apnea episodes where you're like gasping for breath, 34 times an hour. So like every other minute, pretty much, I was, you're not waking up to the point that you're conscious of it, but it is actually happening. Like you stop breathing and then you kind of snort and you kind of get jerked back to into sleep. So you're sleeping, but it's low quality sleep. You're not getting the benefits that you would. I don't know. Those of you that have apnea, how many times do you remember how many times an hour you were having apnea episodes?
I don't know, but
I never
I'm
got
getting
tested for it.
100. I'm getting 100 on my because there's a website or app connected to the CPAP machine, and it tracks how much I sleep. So it says that I get 100, between 90 and 100 most nights.
Oh, the score, right?
Yep.
Yeah, me too. That's so that shows.
Is that a good score?
That's good.
It's a good score, but the problem is for me, it's generally that I don't have my mask is not correct, and if your mask is not correct, they take points off for that. So when my mask is good, I can actually get 100, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, so some of the problems, we talk about hunger, overeating can be a problem, a consequence of lack of sleep or lack of quality sleep. Like I said, I was sleeping all night, never got up, but the quality of the sleep was so bad because of all these interruptions that I was just tired all the time. I was ready to take a nap by like 9:30 in the morning if I got up at 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And that's not good. It also increases your vulnerability to illness, heart problems, diabetes. My wife started complaining that I was snoring so much. She said, "Oh, people snore all the time." I remember my grandparents always snored. I said, why don't you just get some earplugs? That was my suggestion. And but then the more I learned about it, it's like, well, really, it wasn't good for me to be living like that and to be at risk of all these things. And I don't know about you, but I've had this happen where you get to be so tired during the day that sometimes you just kind of drift off for a couple seconds. Anybody had that experience, like while you're driving, maybe?
Oh, God,
Yep.
no.
Not while driving, no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
My deal is I was working for a while and I would be sitting in meetings and oh Lord, I couldn't, especially if they're like lecturing, I couldn't keep my eyes away. And so it's a lot better now that, I'm using the CPAP at night.
Yeah, that's my
Good.
experience too. And I did actually kind of fall asleep for like a second or two while I was driving a couple times.
Oh,
Fortunately, I woke up pretty quick. Once it's because my wife smacked me.
Oh, boy.
So, it can be pretty serious. I mean,
Oh, yes.
and if
I
you're,
could imagine.
yeah, geez. And if you have maybe a job where you're operating some kind of machinery or some kind of equipment that can be dangerous, if you drift off and your hand goes into the thing,
Oh, my God. Yep. Oh, Lord.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of bad things there. And all these problems here, your skin, I know, and you can kind of tell when somebody hasn't slept enough. They've got the bags under their eyes sometimes.
Right.
So lots of bad consequences. And
How do you know if you have that sleep apnea?
if you suspect that you do, like if you're snoring loudly, that's kind of one of the main clues. And if you got somebody that's sleeping next to you, they'll tell you. If not, you can do what I do, because even though my wife was there and she said, "Oh, you're snoring like crazy," and I said, "Oh, it can't be that bad." So I took my iPad and I turned on the recording app and I recorded myself. I was sleeping all night. And I was like, "Geez, this is awful."
Wow, huh?
I know what you're complaining about. So that's one thing you can do, is just record yourself.
So the heavy snoring is tied to sleep apnea always?
I don't know about always, but if you hear the kind of snoring where it's like you snore and then you like stop breathing for a few seconds and then all of a sudden it comes back like kind of abruptly, that shows
Right.
shows that you stopped breathing, and that's what apnea means. It's stopping of the breath for a while.
Holy smoke. I wouldn't know if I have
That's
it. And
scary.
I don't have anyone sleeping next to me. Maybe if I would record the thing like you said.
Well, if you what I did, to get started, I went to the doctor and I said, "Hey, I think I might have this condition. So what do we do?" And they have a machine. Those of you that have seen it, not really a machine, but just like some electrodes that they put on you. It's like you put a thing around your waist, and it records what happens to you like during the night. It's like got like a little computer chip or something in there. So you just wear this thing for one night, and it's not like it. You don't have to stick it into your skin or anything. It just kind of wraps around you, and then you take it into the doctor, to the sleep clinic, and they just download the data, and they can tell what's been happening with you and your sleep during the night, and that's how they know.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys that have the CPAPs, you did that, right? You had the home.
I never got tested for it. I probably should have.
I got tested. We started off, my doctor wanted to start off with the home study.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what that showed them, but they did. From there, following that, I had to actually go in to a sleep study center. And it was so funny because I felt like when I was there that I didn't sleep hardly in at all. And then at 5 o'clock in the morning, the man told me, "Okay, you're done. You can get up and go." This was like 5 o'clock in the morning. It's like, oh my God, I haven't slept in at all. He said, "Well, we have all the information we need."
Wow.
But your doctor does have to write an order for you to do that. Just like any other test, they do have to write an order for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And if you happen to be on Medicare does cover the CPAP machines. At least that's been my experience. So anyway, sleep disorders.
Both my brothers have it, but I never got tested for it. But both my brothers have it. And then when I went to that pulmonologist for a separate issue that I have with my lungs, I said, "You think I have that?" And he said that usually it runs in families. So if two of your brothers have it, chances are you probably have it. I never got tested though.
Yeah, I mean it's something that kind of happens as you get older, because it has to do with like some of the flesh and stuff inside your throat. And, it's tighter when you're younger and it gets kind of looser and floppier as you get older. And it's, they can go in, like my brother-in-law had like a little bit of surgery where they go into your throat and they like take out some of this tissue in there that's flapping around
Really?
to obstruct your breath. And that kind of helped with him. If you're a bit overweight, like I'm a little bit overweight, that contributes to it also. A lot of things like
Is
that.
it tied into weight, weight?
Yeah, yeah. And I was
Okay.
resisting getting the CPAP machine myself, and I told the doctor, I said, hey, what if I lose 20 or 30 pounds like everybody says I should? You think that would help? And he said, nah, in your case, it probably wouldn't, because you have such a severe case that even if I got myself skinny, it probably still wouldn't take care of it.
Right, right.
Anyway, so sleep disorders are serious, but they're very common. But for the most part, they're treatable. That's, apnea is one thing, and there's a few others we're going to talk about that are more rare. But sometimes people do get them, and typically they're underdiagnosed, because normally you just don't go to the doctor if you have a problem sleeping. You just figure that's just I'm just getting older or whatever. But there are things that they can do. So here's the most common sleep disorders. Insomnia just generally means that you can't sleep. And sometimes, this is something that happens because maybe you're anxious about something, or you got something to do at work the next day, or things that have to be done, or things aren't going well. And these are, short-term kind of things. And a lot of times you can make some changes in your life that'll help with that. And then these other ones, narcolepsy, restless legs, apnea, and REM, sleep behavior disorder. I'll describe those in a minute. So insomnia, I think everybody has this sometimes. If you have, something you're worried about, or something that's going to be going on the next day or two, you just keep thinking about it, and keeps you up at night. Anybody have anything they do? Any tips here that have been helpful for you guys?
Take a sleeping pill.
All right, there you go.
That's my excuse. That's my remedy. If the mind just doesn't shut off, you're constantly worrying, and some things really are serious to worry about. So it's hard to like shut that off,
Sure.
And I have a sleeping spa.
What was that?
I'm sorry.
I have a sleeping spa. It plays different sounds.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Sometimes
like
I
the rain
listen to
machine,
sometimes I listen to audiobooks.
Okay.
And when I can't sleep, I'll put the audiobooks in my ear, and then I'm sleeping no time at all, but then I miss half of the book that I'm trying to. So yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some apps you can get on your phone or your iPad or whatever that are meant to help you relax and get to sleep. Some of
and
these,
stay asleep.
I don't know about staying asleep, at least help you get.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, right?
Yeah. There's also I haven't seen them for a while, but they used to make these like clock radios that would have, like the sound of a rainforest, or crashing waves or something that would supposedly help.
Yeah, I think that's what she's speaking of. I
Yeah,
think.
that's what the sleep spa was. I like to listen to the rain.
Oh, okay.
YouTube has a ton of them.
Yeah.
For that very purpose.
The beach, the rain.
Right.
Yep.
Birds. Right.
I haven't used those, but I'm sure they work for some people. Somebody in a recent class was telling me about they get these weighted blankets. Has anybody ever had a weighted blanket? They're pretty common.
My friend has one.
They have them at Costco. They have them at Walmart, but it's kind of a heavy blanket, right?
Yeah, wouldn't it be awfully heavy?
Well, well, that's kind of the idea. It's supposed to, make you feel more secure or something,
Yeah.
They try to make them so they're not real hot, but they do have some extra, I don't know what's in there, but they're sort of heavy and they kind of press on you. And for some people, if you have anxiety of some sort, it can kind of calm you down, I guess.
Yeah, my friend has one. She likes it, yeah, but she said it does get hot after a while. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe there's a button that she could regulate it, like low or high, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I know they make them in different weights. I've seen like medium, heavy, light, you know, there are some options. Anyway, here's some other suggestions. If you just have what you think is insomnia, it's not apnea or something else, you know, occasional problems getting to sleep. Some suggestions that people, or that the doctors actually have is, you know, be consistent, try to go to bed, get up at the same time every day. Make sure you allow enough time, you know, if you have to, don't go to bed if you have the alarm getting you up in 5 hours, that's not going to be a good arrangement. How about pets in the bedroom? Anybody here like their dog or their cat hanging around in the bedroom?
I have 2 cats. You know what, cats, you have no choice.
Mm.
Didn't know that.
What would happen if you closed the door? Would they be crying if you didn't let them?
Oh gosh, they'd be with the little paws trying to get the door open and crying. No, they're pretty good. They sleep better than I do. So, you know,
All right, well,
they're
you know,
okay. They don't bother me.
maybe it works sometimes. I have a small dog, and you know, if he was in the room, he'd be getting up a couple times during the night and walking around and doing God knows what. So, in general, you know, you might want to try keeping the pets out of the bedroom.
I'm calling Randall Drive and Go. This is Ben. How can I help you?
Yes, I had a pickup for Alma Reyes. I'm in number 1.
Okay.
Okay, just making sure. Did you already get a confirmation that it was complete?
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be at 2 o'clock, and of course the 2 things that I wanted, eggnog, were not available.
Somebody needs to mute.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So
That
yes.
is too funny.
Okay,
That's too funny.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
I hope she's treating for all of us.
Man.
Oh.
Okay, taking long naps during the day, even though it might feel great during the day, can also, you know, you're just not going to be that tired at night.
Right.
I've had that happen a few times. If I did something exhausting and I fell asleep for a couple hours, it messes up your night. Your bedroom, the ideal environment would be quiet, dark, relaxing, and somewhere around 65 degrees. You know, I know like some people, like my wife says, oh, we need to have a night light on in the bathroom so I can see where you, and I said, nah, we just leave it open a sliver or something, but light is not conducive to sleeping well. And temperatures, you know, even though you might want to make it nice and warm, if it's cold outside to get into a nice warm bed, you're probably going to find that you sleep better if you keep it around the mid 60s. And as far as other things that you can do, you know, you've probably heard this, but it's good to avoid using any kind of electronics, you know, TV, computer, video games for about an hour before you go to bed. It has to do with your brain getting kind of revved up and into the awake mode. So if you're having trouble sleeping, you might want to try, you know, the last hour or two before you go to bed, just avoid all the screens and just, you know, maybe read or do something else. Is that, you guys do that? Do you try to avoid TV?
Oh yeah, I have so many gadgets when I get into bed, and that's a big mistake.
Yeah. I know that like on my phone, I have an iPhone and they have a mode in there, like an evening mode or dark mode, they call it, in which after like 10 o'clock at night, the screen is kind of dark and it has kind of a yellowish kind of red color to it, because the, you know, the bright kind of bluish white, normal screen color stimulates your brain, and the yellowish red kind of helps to relax it. If you have to be on the phone, it's supposed to work better. So you might want to check and see if you have that. If you're using an iPhone, check into the dark mode.
Turn everything off,
I go
right?
to bed later at night, and for that reason, because I usually, like, if I go to bed at 9 o'clock, you can rest assured I'll be awake by 12. And so as a result of that, and I know it's not a good thing, but I find myself going to bed around 11 or midnight, and I seem to sleep a little bit longer, although if I'm not careful, I wake up like 4 in the morning and stay awake for sometimes an hour or so. And then, but you know, fortunately, that I'm retired, I can sleep a little bit longer on the days that I don't have to go to my part-time job.
Mm.
Yeah, that's nice, right? To sleep in.
Yep.
I don't know how many, do most of you, are you still like, you have to get up early in the morning to work or do something else?
Retired.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to sleep late. I want to get up early. You know,
Okay.
that's the whole thing. Then you lose your whole day. I mean, for a while, I've been pushing my sleep time after, and then it's sometimes 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm still awake.
Mm.
So, and that's driving me
Same
crazy
here.
because then I sleep until 10:30, 11 o'clock and my whole life is done by that time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's the fact that it's coming to a head where I've been locked in my house for too long.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's possible. That's definitely possible.
So
Yeah.
Anybody get the vaccines yet?
not
Anybody?
yet, but
Not
I did
yet.
I got an email saying that I'm on the list. So
Oh, that's good.
Really?
Where do you
That's
live?
that's
Houston?
hopeful.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Houston. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm in New York
she,
City.
she and I are Houston girls.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Houston.
But,
Nice.
but
Wow.
that I
Never been. I've
wanted to
never
get
been there. I'd love to go.
I missed one of the classes at 9 o'clock, the Get Set Up class, the one for really, de-stressing over art. I slept through it. I was very upset.
Oh.
So that's the kind of, I remember I had to be to work at 8 o'clock, and it was a very stressful day and I worked from 8 to 8 and it was accounting. So there's always somebody yelling at you. And I haven't been doing that.
Always somebody yelling at you. I can imagine.
Wow.
So I haven't been doing that for a while, but I don't like the fact that I'm not up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I like to walk at 8 o'clock in the morning. So
Right.
trying to push myself and do the right things, like you said, with the screens and the smartphone and the TV and all this other kind of stuff. I don't
Yep.
do large meals. I don't eat after 8 o'clock, but I'm trying to readjust myself so I'm not awake at 3 o'clock in the morning. I would
Right.
say, forget it. I'm not even going to go to sleep at all. But last night I did really well. So I was asleep by 9 o'clock. And then of course somebody texts me a message like around 11. I don't know why
Oh.
people do that. And
Yeah.
You need to use
I
that
have my
iPhone
ringer off.
feature. You need to use that
Yeah,
iPhone
shut it
feature where
off.
it cuts
no,
your
I
phone
can't.
off.
No, I can't shut my phone off because I have a daughter who
Oh,
lives
okay.
10 minutes from here. And
Okay.
I can't not be in contact if something goes wrong.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah, I
right.
gotcha.
But I am trying, like I said, when I feel tired, just get in bed and shut things down. And it worked last night. All right. So it is New Year's Eve.
Yeah, yeah. Right.
But I can't miss things at 9 o'clock in the morning. That's silly. So yeah, I'm
Can you
working
set
on.
the alarm? Can you set an alarm?
I did.
Oh, you did. Oh, and you didn't respond to the alarm?
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
So I'm now working.
Sounds
on
like me.
So I'm working on all these things except for the pets, to redo my time. Now the fact that I'm not getting up at 6:30 in the morning for work, but I do want to get up at 8 o'clock for any kind of Get Set Up classes at 9.
Yeah,
Right.
you mentioned that getting some exercise. I know now that we're stuck in the house, it's not as easy to do that,
But I walk every day.
it does help. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I like to walk at 8 o'clock in the morning, but now getting up at 10:30, I've been walking at 3:30, 4 o'clock at night, and I don't like doing that. I like the early morning exercise. So basically, I'm going with all these things here, except for the animals. I have to redo all my sleeping, I think, because of the environment we're living in right now.
Yeah.
It's good that you're walking, though. That's great. I'm trying to get there and just walk a little bit. I haven't even been walking at all. It's terrible for my health. You know what I mean?
You have to walk. Yeah.
Yeah. If you do
I'm
walk,
too lazy to get up and do it.
You're tired because you're tired.
So if you do
Yeah.
some kind of exercise, you might want to avoid doing it, soon before bedtime.
Yeah.
It's not great to run around and jump into bed and expect to be able to get to sleep because
True.
Right.
That's so true. Yeah.
they help. And
Yeah.
the other thing, I was eating a lot, like large meals or caffeine the last couple hours before bed.
Yeah.
That's not going to be any easier for you. I mean, it makes it worse a lot of times.
And the
And
caffeine too, with so
Yeah.
much sugar for the holidays. So
Right.
that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
And alcohol, a lot of people feel, alcohol makes you kind of tired. So you think maybe I'll sleep better if I have a drink before bed, but really it interferes with your sleeping, with your brain functioning.
And it's 4 hours.
Yeah. So no
Pay
night.
attention. I did not know that.
Come on, y'all.
Yeah,
Wow.
If you, yeah.
that's the current recommendation. I mean, people used to say, I'm going to have a nightcap, I'll have a martini before I go to bed or something, but it's really not the optimal thing. for
So
most-
basically, I've been doing everything that I should be avoiding. Check, 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 and check. So except for the exercise. Yeah, I see my problem.
Hey, it's worth a try. These things help with a
Yeah.
lot of people, so.
Are you
The
gonna be able to go over the
devices-
REM disorder?
Hmm?
Are you gonna be able to go over the
Yeah,
REM
yeah,
sleep
let's get to it.
disorder?
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll
the
stop
one-
asking questions.
Yeah, the one other thing, a helpful hint here is to eat something with some carbs in it before you go to bed. They always talk about having warm milk or,
Yeah, the bowl of cereal.
yeah, something like this will help you, sleep better. And also, if you're not on any kind of medications for something else, like blood pressure or whatever, you may want to check, read the label or ask your doctor and say, hey, maybe could this be interfering with my sleep? Because there are plenty of meds out there that will do that. So those kind of unusual sleep disorders we mentioned, I just wanted to go over these quickly here. First one is narcolepsy, and probably you've heard of that before. But it's kind of unusual, but people just, they're going along doing something, normal activity, and they'll just all of a sudden just get weak and just fall asleep.
Wow.
And sometimes it can occur when something really emotional happens, or people are surprised, or doing some physical activity. Anybody had an experience with anyone that had narcolepsy?
My aunt has narcolepsy, and when she falls asleep, she can still hear the conversation. So one time we were talking about her, when she woke up, she heard the whole conversation. So
how long did she sleep?
it wasn't too long. It was like 10 minutes, but it's just like she goes from talking to normal conversation to her head hitting the table. I mean, she's out.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Scary.
Is she able to drive? I mean, it seems like
No, she doesn't drive anyway, so that was good. She doesn't drive.
Do they feel it coming on? Like, oh, I'm getting
No.
really tired.
She doesn't see, I'm telling you, she's just like normal. And then she just falls over.
She's been like that all her life, or is it?
Yeah, she's been like that all her life.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, they do have some treatments for it. There is some medication that doctors can give you that might help with that. And again, if you do some of those things in the last slide that might improve your sleeping, they always recommend that. And even taking naps can sometimes do it. But yeah, that's a weird one.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you believe in the melatonin or no?
I've never tried it. My sister-in-law swears by it. It's a supplement, right? You can get it in the health food stores and everything.
Yeah, because they say it's just a natural herb, but I know we have some in our body already.
Right. I would check with your doctor, but I know a lot of people swear by it. I don't think
Sometime I take it. I mean,
Does it
sometimes
help?
I do. Huh?
Does it help?
Yeah, if
Does it
you
help you sleep
try to
any?
clear everything else out of your mind, and then lower the lights.
That's the
and
key
take it.
right there, what you're saying.
Yeah, but your
Get
sleep
everything
within
out of your
20
mind,
minutes.
right?
Your sleep within
20
20 minutes.
minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll sleep within 20 minutes. Yeah, it didn't work for me. Maybe there's a higher dose I can try.
What did you take?
Melatonin.
No, I mean, how many milligrams?
Oh, actually, I don't even know.
Maybe you took 3, just try 10, if you already took 5.
Oh,
I had to
okay.
jump to 10.
Oh, okay. I'll
And I
try
don't know
10.
if it's legal.
That's the
I
highest?
don't know if it's, huh?
I said that's the highest?
No,
the
no,
highest
you
dose?
just shouldn't take, I don't think you should take more than 10. If that don't work, I just don't think you should go higher.
Is that
Right,
something safe
right.
to take every day?
Oh, yeah, I think so. It's
but
over the
some people
counter.
do. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
it's
take
over
it
the
every
counter.
night, but yeah,
Also, it's
so,
over the counter don't mean it's safe.
but it's a
Oh,
natural
okay.
herb.
Yeah,
Just
I
asking
don't,
if you can
yeah, I'm
take it
not
every
sure.
day.
I don't take it every day. And, but I do medical, my brownies and my cookies and stuff like that.
Well,
So that helps me go to sleep, but I just do it at nighttime to go to sleep. And if that don't
Mhm.
work, then I take it.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I know, like CBD is another thing that a lot of people are taking now. And again, I would check with my doctor, but some people seem to have good results with it. So
Yeah.
That helps you sleep, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. It's gonna put you to sleep.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
two different
That's
kinds.
good.
One to put you to sleep and one is a upper light. So
Really? Mm.
yeah.
My daughter has it for
Okay,
anxiety.
restless leg syndrome.
Yeah, this is the next one I was going to talk about here. Maybe you've heard of this one, but it's kind of a
That's
condition.
weird.
Yeah, where people, people just have this feeling where they're not comfortable unless they're moving their leg all the time. And they have this, like they describe it as a creeping sensation in their legs. And if they don't keep it moving, it feels very uncomfortable. And as you can imagine, it's hard to get to sleep with that kind of thing going on.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I could imagine. Sure.
Yeah. And
Wow.
they have medication for it. They also recommend exercise and baths or massages. We had a pretty good video about this one. Hopefully it's not going to screw things up again. Let's try it anyway.
When restless leg syndrome, or RLS, steals your sleep, try these do-it-yourself tips to get some relief. Give your muscles R&R. Massage your legs or take a hot bath. Speaking of heat, you can also use a heating pad to soothe your symptoms. Ice packs may work too. Alternate using both if it feels good. Another good way to ease RLS symptoms? Get regular exercise, but don't work out intensely or too late in the day. And before you go to bed, relax with yoga or meditation to ease stress. What won't help you feel better? Caffeine and alcohol. So cut back on both. And if you smoke, quit. If these tips don't work, reach out to your doctor. She has treatments that can help you feel better.
They mentioned meditating in that one too. Has anybody ever tried meditating, or anybody do that anyway?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
I did it once.
Yeah. Those of you that do it, does it help getting to sleep? I don't know.
Yeah, my problem is staying asleep. I can go to sleep right now if I just kind of lay down, but my problem is staying asleep. Even if I take melatonin, I still wake up through the night, but then I'm going to the restroom, I don't know how many times a night. So that interrupts sleep as well.
And that's my
Right.
problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well,
And you say, "Oh, in a little while I'll get up. In a little while I'll get up." Right? And then it's an emergency. I better get up now and go.
And then you're wide awake. And then by then you're wide awake. So
You're wide awake.
Mm.
I guess try not to consume that much liquids, right? Before bed. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Would that help?
No, that's exactly what the doctor
Yeah.
told me. Yeah.
So this slide is about sleep apnea, which we've talked about already, but again, it can be caused by weight, alcohol consumption. If you have heart disease, it can cause this to happen. Nasal obstruction, I told you about this muscles relaxing. I have a deviated septum from having broken my nose when I was a kid. So that could be
Really
part of my problem. Yeah. And in fact, they were talking about, well, we could break your nose and make it straight again. So I don't know if I'm really that.
Oh boy.
I mean, I'm doing okay now, but there's a video here. Let's take a look.
Sleep apnea causes frequent interruptions in breathing as you sleep. It disrupts your rest, which can pose serious health risks. Loud snoring is often a symptom of sleep apnea. You snore when your tongue falls back against the back of your throat, and it vibrates as you breathe in and out. In apnea, your throat muscles relax so much that they block your airway. When this happens, you can stop breathing for 10 seconds or more. Carbon dioxide builds up and causes your brain to signal you to wake up. You do, briefly, and begin to breathe normally again. These brief interruptions can happen many times an hour and can severely
That's,
affect your health.
that's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, my number was 34 times an hour. It was, waking up. So, and that's pretty high, but people can be even higher than that. So.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. I wonder how you even know that you have it. But he was saying, like, if you're snoring heavy, somebody will tell you, or you can record yourself, and that would be a symptom, right?
Yeah, that would be some pretty good evidence that it's happening.
Yeah.
And then when you
like I was saying, both my brothers have it, but they told them that it was tied into their weight because they're both, kind of pretty heavy.
And
I don't know if that's I'm sorry.
If you go on a sleep apnea machine, you get every morning when you turn the thing off, you get a data, like a little display there, and it says how many episodes per hour did you have. And so, like for me, it's maybe 1 or 2 now usually, as opposed to being 34. So you can see that it's working.
Wow, it's good.
You probably have moderate as opposed to severe, because that's what they told me. I had moderate, what do they call it, obstructive sleep apnea or something like that. But
Yeah.
I think there's a worst case of being severe.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if now that we know that it causes heart problems, I mean, think of all the people who lived before us who were heavy snorers and probably ended up with heart problems because of this, but they never.
Wow.
So it is. I mean, it's kind of obtrusive to have to put that thing in your face every night when you're sleeping. It's not something you really want to do, but if it can prevent heart disease, or strokes and things too, it's definitely.
Then it's worth it, right?
Yeah. So we were talking about REM sleep disorder, and this is kind of an interesting one. This REM stands for rapid eye movement. So there's different phases of sleep, and when you're dreaming, that's one phase of sleep, and they call that REM sleep. And if you watch somebody when they're sleeping, you can see their eyeballs moving around underneath. The eyes are closed, but you can see they're kind of like looking around under their eyelids, because when you're dreaming, you're kind of looking around at things that are actually happening. And the way they explain this is that your body kind of becomes paralyzed when you're sleeping. So like in your dreams, you might think you're fighting and you're running and you're jumping off a cliff or whatever. But because your body has these chemicals that are released, you don't actually move. Your eyes move, but the rest of you doesn't normally move. But some people are not able to become paralyzed like they want to be, or like you want to be, but their bodies actually do move. So if they feel like they're in a boxing match, they're swinging their arms around in bed, or they're, if they're running, they're making motions like that, and they're actually physically acting out your dreams, which is, I mean, you can imagine that could be kind of dangerous, especially if somebody's sleeping next to you and you're flailing around and, doing these kind of things, causing distress or injury to your sleeping partner. Anybody had any experience or knowledge with this kind of thing? You've heard of people sleepwalking. Sleepwalking is a form of this.
Wow.
And there was a movie a couple of years ago called Sleepwalk with Me, in which a guy was, he would get up and he'd be thrashing around in bed, and what they ended up treating him was he would like have a sleeping bag in his bed, so he would like bundle himself up in one of these mummy type sleeping bags up all the way to his head, and so he'd be in there moving around, but he wouldn't be smacking his wife all the time. So here's a little video. This is going to be an interesting one.
REM sleep behavior disorder, or RBD, is a condition experienced during the REM phase of sleep in which a person acts out his dreams. Normally, during the REM phase of sleep, our brain is active similar to when we are awake, but our muscles are paralyzed to prevent us from acting out our dreams. Unfortunately, in REM sleep behavior disorder, this transient muscle paralysis is lost.
REM sleep behavior disorder affects 1 in 200 people, with middle-aged and older men being affected 10 times more commonly than women. Risk factors may include psychiatric medicines, degenerative brain diseases like Parkinson's disease or Lewy body dementia, and brain injury. Symptoms include sleepwalking, screaming, kicking, hitting, or even punching while asleep, posing a threat to self and the sleeping partner. Once suspected, patients need to see a sleep specialist or neurologist. The doctor may then order a sleep study to confirm the diagnosis. Although there is no cure, a medication such as clonazepam may curb violent sleep-related behavior in up to 90% of the patients. For more information, including a list of expert doctors and hospitals, visit www.expertdoc.com.
Wow.
Interesting, huh? There was a guy taking this class a couple weeks ago who suffered from this, and he was telling us he takes that clonazepam, I think the doctors recommend, and he said it helps somewhat. He still has the problem. He still moves around a lot in his sleep. So if you do go to a doctor and you say, I've got some problems with sleeping, there's some things they're probably going to do. They may have you keep a diary for a few days in which you tell them, what time you go to sleep and when you've been up and all these kind of things, and your history basically. And you tell them what meds you're taking. You may do the sleep study. It could be at a clinic or it could be at home. Blood test, there might be some kind of evidence here of something going on. There's a test called maintenance of wakefulness. So the doctors do have a lot of things they can do to try to figure out what's going on or to help you with it. So that's pretty much it. But one thing I didn't mention, but another hint, if you're trying to get yourself to sleep easier, is your bedroom should be for sleeping only. So it's not really good to have your bedroom also be your exercise room or your office or the rec room, If you associate the bedroom with sleep only, then you're more likely probably just to be more relaxed when you're in there. I know, if you live in a studio apartment or something, you don't really have any choice, but if you can do that kind of thing, that would be helpful.
Well, how long did you work out?
Oh, any other thoughts? Or I know we're just about.
Oh, I think I read about that. I think I read about that on one of the comments.
Well, I'm going to work harder on preparing to go to bed, taking out my computer equipment out of there so I don't play games to make myself tired. That's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's worth a try. That might be some good, huh?
And I am going to watch my glass of wine, not have it too close when I go to bed.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was a 4-hour range.
That's what the doctors currently recommend,
Yeah, I might just cut that out completely and work on that because and get back into that schedule because I do want to getting up at 8, 7. I like to get up at 7 in the morning. So
you got to drink in the afternoon now or in the morning.
It's the only other time.
And I have to get out. I have to get out and walk.
Oh, yeah, I'm up to 2-3 miles a day. It's the best thing in the world to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I just keep going.
Great.
I'm going to leave the state. No, I'm kidding.
And you would think that would help you with your sleeping, Lisa.
You would
Yeah, that much exercise.
Yeah.
That's wonderful, though. I envy you. I would love to do that.
Well, you start out slow. And then you pick it up. But there are a couple of ideas. I'm going to get that computer game out of my bedroom, and I'm not going to have wine. And I'm going to work down this list and see if it helps.
Yeah.
What do you play? Which game?
I play all of them. I have all the juicy ones. The games on my little iPad thing. Some game.
Like the Words with Friends and poker and all that stuff?
Oh, no, I don't do anything in connecting with another person. I just, play those little games. And they're just dumb games.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe that would tire
Yeah,
me
they're
down.
cute though. I do them too.
Yeah, but not at night.
Scrabble.
Yes.
Right,
With
right,
the
because you're trying to
games.
relax yourself. Yeah.
It's not helping. It's making it worse. So I'm gonna
Can't,
stop that.
don't forget Candy Crush. Y'all playing
Oh,
the
Candy
intelligent
Crush. Yeah,
game.
I've
That's
done
one of
that
the
one
dumb
too.
games. Yeah, yeah.
I've done Candy Crush. Yep. I'm trying
That
to
one
find some
too.
new ones.
You know what?
And I did Yahtzee and spades. I like spades.
I
That's
always
a great
look at
one.
Words with Friends, and it gets pretty heated sometimes. You have these like games where you got to play really fast, and you're playing against people and trying to make words as quick as you can. So much as I love to do it, I got to turn it off around 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's
That's
stressful.
Right.
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 Yeah, that's for the intelligent people. I just play Candy Crush, but I have come across Sudoku. What is it, Sudoku or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've gotten.
That's a
I've
hard
gotten
one,
it.
right?
It is hard, and I've gotten
I've
interested in
heard.
that. But
That's
I don't
math,
play
right?
word. I don't play words with friends.
Yeah, I think they have an adjustment on there, Bob. You could either do fast or regular. Because I tried the fast one and it was very fast. So I said, this is not for me. So then I went back and switched the dial back to regular, and that was better. I have all the time in the world. I could play it even next to 24 hours to make a move. That fast one was quick. It was like, oh my God, I'm on a timer. Oh no.
Well, I sent you guys a survey, a link to the survey in the chat window. Do you all see that? If you can open up the chat window.
Yes, I do see it.
Okay. And you're also going to get a follow-up email from us with just some of the things we talked about in there. So, if you don't mind doing the survey, that would be helpful. And if you have any suggestions for us.
So that was great. I've got stuff to work with. Thank you.
Okay. Well,
Yes.
Fun talking with you guys, and have.
Same here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Bob.
Thank you
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Everybody have
Happy
a
New
happy
Year.
and healthy New Year.
Yes.
Be safe.
Be
and
safe.
I hope 2021 brings us some, much better things than we had in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope
positive.
so. We need it.
Why not?
It's enough already.
We're done.
I'm ready to get my vaccine and move on.
I heard somebody.
Thank you. Wish you a happy new year.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye.
Somebody
Thank
told me
you.
after midnight tonight, 2020 will be hindsight. Or hindsight will be 2020.
Happy new year.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Be safe, everyone.
Be safe.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.